Hello, and welcome to another episode of Beast Fables, a show where we follow the lives of tiny animals in a massive forest. My name is Brian, I use he, him pronouns, I run Dungeons on a Dime, and I am joined by three of my best friends, Atlanta, Eve, and Ver. We're all here to play little tiny animals and travel along the road and maybe stab some bandits. Yeah. I'm going to say, Atlanta, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone again first?
Yes. Hello, I am Atlanta. I use she, her pronouns, otherwise known as Alpaca Scribbles on Instagram and Twitter. And I'm playing Pipistrelle, a mysterious little bat with ulterior motives.
We love ulterior, mysterious motives. Next up, I'm going to say either Eve or Ver, do you want to introduce yourselves? Whoever does not have a dog being loud in the background.
That's me. Hi, I'm Eve. I use they and he pronouns, and I play Thistle. And I definitely didn't wake up 20 minutes ago.
Of course not.
Oh.
I feel like for a lizard in the winter, that is a vibe, though.
Yeah, I am literally a lizard. I'm a large lizard playing a small lizard.
You're really in character today.
And last but not least, we have got Ver.
Hello everybody, my name is Ver. I use they them pronouns. You can find me online under the moniker of Verface, as I am an illustrator and comic artist, and in today's game I will be playing, as usual, Balthazar of Blueberry Pond. And if my voice seemed to have been kind of going a little quiet and loud there, it's because I've been frantically turning my head around to observe my dog to see if she's doing anything naughty. However, I am happy to report that she has stopped ripping up cardboard and is now laying on the ground, so hopefully I won't have to mute too much.
Yay!
Yay! Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Penby.
Thank you, Peeble.
I have just added a broom.
You've added a broom to my sweepy. How dare you?
That's so funny.
rude.
Wait,
You're
no one
so
can see it. No one can see it. My rat's in the way. Hi, yeah, I'm the narrator.
I'm the narrator.
Yeah.
Ah! He
Say
is
rat.
Sword.
So, what happened last session? I will answer. That's not rhetorical. Last session, you helped save an otter from drowning by the river, and in return were rewarded with food for your travels south towards Summit, taking the high road. A backdoor deal was made with the top burner, the leader of the village, to encourage a certain Hayden, an artistic bat with less than functional sensibilities, to leave with you and preferably not come back for a while, at least for the winter. He was seen as a bit of a drain on resources and ultimately not a good fit for the village and a distraction to his sister. Having made that deal, you have now gone against that deal and not even invited him along with you, and have met at the front of the village, ready to leave. Your end of the deal is not upheld, but you were given sort of like a contact to meet in Summit, and possibly, with the crest and the letter you bear, a way in past the extensively long queues trying to get into Summit at this time of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So, you meet at the front of the village. So it's this area here that I'll ping on the map. It's the front of the village. You have a general view of the flats of the river, the meadows spreading out on your right, the buildings behind you now. I'm going to say, like, Thistle and Balthazar. Oh no, Thistle, you're there. Balthazar and Pipistrelle, you go and meet, because Balthazar, you come back with Cirrus from saying hello to the not drowned otter, and giving them some tea and saying sorry for abusing their diaphragm. You come back, and you pick up Pipistrelle, who was just ready to leave, and who was not invited Hayden along, and now you are coming back. So that's where the scene picks up. You're now gathered together at the front of the village.
Yeah. I don't think Balthazar, knew about the deal part. He just knew that
No.
they kind of wanted Hayden gone, so he's just like, no, I guess he's staying. Oh, very lovely.
Well, I feel like you knew of that, but you didn't think there was an active... I wouldn't think that Balthazar would think there's an active effort to get rid of Hayden. He's just been a little bit unwelcome because he's artsy, which, yeah.
Yeah, which is, like, unthinkable, because why would you not want a brilliant artist who can make a horse in your village?
And I know that that Pip did we did have like while Thistle was talking to I've forgotten the name, Callum, last session. Was it Callum or Caden?
Yeah, Callum was the top burner.
Yeah, Callum. Yeah, while Thistle was talking to Callum and Pip and Balthazar like met up, and I think she kind of explained, I think as best she could, that like Hayden was not exactly like welcome, I guess, in oh my god, I'm sorry, my brain is like not switched on yet.
Grinder's Nest.
Grinder's Nest, thank you. It wasn't really welcome in Grinder's Nest for their artistic ability, but I feel like that was a conversation that may have just devolved more into like talking about art in general, rather than just like Hayden and like...
And also like Callum being like, you know, like, oh, bribe me with this bottle of cider to take them away, baby. And we're just like, huh, what? Winking? What's going on? I mean, I guess that was Thistle being like,
what's going on with your eyes?
Yeah. Yeah, but Balthazar, as soon as he sees, sorry, a dog just tangled herself into my audio cable. Fuck. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Crisis averted. I was afraid she's gonna pull the my earbuds out of my ears for a second. Oh, no. Yeah. As soon as Balthazar like sees Thistle, he will wave at them and because I don't think he knew where Thistle's going, so he'll just, say like, have you concluded all your business then? I suppose we'll be ready to hit the road, yes?
I've got a secret, and they try to wink, but it's just like one of those double eye blinks.
Yeah.
To get into Summit. Where's the bat?
Balthazar looks at Pipistrel, like, here she is. Her name is Pipistrel. You would do well to remember that. It's been a few days now.
I feel like Pip just like steps out from behind Balthazar, like, hi, I'm here.
I think Thistle takes a minute to be like, oh, is this the bat that Callum wanted gone?
Oh god, do they not remember what Pip looks like?
They're kind of like looking at Pip like, oh, have I misunderstood this situation?
Oh no.
They're like, alright, where's the other one?
I think Pip looks confused. It's like, other one? Other bat, you mean?
Yeah, we're not gonna... Callum wanting someone gone. I've got the paper. What are we doing here? Where's...
Oh, I think Pip like her ears kind of droop a little bit. It's like, oh, well, I mean, I spoke to Hayden about him coming with us to Summit, but he didn't seem very keen to go. I didn't want to force him to leave.
We've been told to take the bat. I've got the seal. I've got the name. We've just not got the bat.
Oh no.
They're more flustered than angry at this.
Yeah, I think Balthazar's kind of like, because he's just like, oh, I seem to not have the whole picture. Like to himself. He's just like, oh, did we agree to escort, oh god, what is his name?
Hayden.
Did we agreed to escort Hayden to Summit? Did we? I don't think I realized that part. Wait, did Hayden not know he's coming with us? Oh no, I'm confused.
Thistle grabs their little head. We're meant to take the bat. We can't leave without the bat. We've got to go get him.
All right, let's figure this out then. let's get Hayden, yes?
I think, like, I feel like, God, I was about to say lizard. Jesus Christ. I think Thistle and, like, Balthazar are, like, heading back towards Hayden and Sirius's house, and Pip's like, but he said he didn't want to go. We can't force him to come with us to Summit. Excuse me.
Can we not?
Oh, God. And Pip's like, well, I don't think so. That wouldn't be very fair to make him come, don't you think?
Wait, I did just remember that last time when we had that conversation, Balthazar was like, oh, it's his decision to make, so actually I don't think he'd be that eager. I think he's just like, wait, we agreed to whom? So Hayden doesn't want to leave, but someone wants Hayden to leave, yes? Is that what's going on?
Yes. I think Pip would sort of, like, quickly explain about the whole, like, Callum situation and this burner wanting Hayden gone because he's not useful.
Right. Well, I think Balthazar kind of, like, takes a step back to stand next to Pipistral and says, well, I suppose I must have, yes, agree with Pip. It is up to Hayden if he wants to leave or not. You can't exactly just force someone to leave their home.
But I've got a letter.
Oh.
What's about this letter again?
Well, I've been given a letter from Callum saying he wants Hayden away. It's a little letter of recommendation to get us into Summit. We can't exactly go to Summit with a letter when we've not done the thing he's asked us to do.
I have to say that is... I am quite intent on getting into Summit, and so you say getting into Summit is very difficult without this letter, yes?
Apparently there's a huge queue and I'm not waiting.
No, we do not have time to just wait. There is treachery afoot. No. The enemies are working every moment that we waste. Well, maybe let's go to Hayden and explain the situation to him.
So looks hopefully at Pip.
She looks a bit, like, defeated, but she sort of shrugs and nods. You know, but she says, I don't know if this will work, but I guess we can try. And she sort of looks unsure, you know, unsure but sort of defeated, I guess. Overruled.
Resigned,
thank you.
Balthazar kind of nods at Thistle. This is let's try to explain the situation to him then, and see if, in a way, he can help us as much as we can maybe help him. Oh dear.
So do you guys make your way to Cirrus and Hayden's house?
Yes.
We do.
We do.
So you promptly arrive. There's no random encounter. The fox doesn't, like, leap out of the grass and just carry off Balthazar.
You fool! Made yourself!
In 2 to 4 business days, you'll be dead.
Don't worry, the weekends are free from illness, but as soon as Monday hits, oh boy, you're 6 feet under, my friend.
So you arrive back at Cirrus and Hayden's house, beautifully drawn here. You see the Shrek. Hours. Oh my god.
You know, I see.
Part of it was.
I always move its eyes to look where we are.
That's
so.
horrible.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Vile.
Like, Caleb didn't tell us that the reason that they actually want Hayden out is because this fucking statue follows people's eyes. Like, this is haunted shit. Like, we don't want that.
Created a cursed object.
But even Fatna is afraid of it. Like, we don't want that.
So you arrive at the house. What is your approach? What do you guys do?
Knock.
You're there.
Oh, okay, straight to the door.
Thistle ducks under Balthazar's arm and just opens the door to go in.
No.
Cirrus is like, just a bit. Hello. Hi again. Did you forget something? Oh, hi, Thistle.
I believe
assuming you
that...
could have like.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say, I kind of assume that like this, you could have just like start walking into the room past Cirrus.
I think the sight of Cirrus probably stops them in their tracks. Goes, oh god, there's a third bat. Was this the bat?
Do they ask that?
We need?
So I'm sorry about the cop. Do they ask that? Like, is this the bat?
No, they just kind of stop and they're like, Hayden?
No, Hayden's my brother. I'm Cirrus. And she sort of, kind of turns sort of in a welcoming manner of like, oh, you can come in, but also kind of points with her wing and shows like Hayden, who's still up on his bunk. He seemed to have been like organizing bits of wicker by length, and he kind of waves with his good wing like a stick. He goes, oh, hello again.
Right, Hayden. Right. Sorry.
Oh, no, sorry, please. No, please continue.
I feel like that's what people are saying when they're trying to get in through the door.
You go first, please. No, after you. Are you ready? Ready for your big trip?
Oh god.
Hayden kind of looks a little confusedly at Cirrus, who looks a little confusedly at Hayden. They sort of give like a, huh? Glance. And then Hayden turns and says, big trip?
Yeah, we're heading to Summit.
What do you... We? As in, us four? He seems to... He's scuttled forward and scattered the bits of wicker that he's been organising on his bunk and sort of is now at the edge of the bed.
That's what I said. Come on, you got a bag. You got some. Thistle looks at their around the room. You got things. You got things you want to bring.
And
if
go ahead.
If I may, some constructive criticism. Your bedside manner is rather lacking right now. Hayden, I believe that there has been sort of a misunderstanding, I suppose, or but I don't really know how to call it. Some manner of agreement was struck, and our passage to Summit relies on you being able to, or relies on us escorting you to Summit.
So,
would you be willing to undertake this journey with us?
So, like, two things happen. Immediately, Cirrus blusters you, Balthazar, down onto a stool and starts worriedly talking to/at you. And Hayden is clambering / falling off of the bed and rapidly grabbing things. And the otherwise quite calm house turns to hubbub. So, in the background of this conversation that Cirrus is having with you, Hayden is grabbing a shirt here, more I say like a shirt, more like a wrap here, a scarf, a pair of like wing socks, random things. He grabs like a hook tool. He grabs something and then puts it in his good arm, and then turns around and grabs another thing and drops the first thing to kind of then put it back into the crook of his arm, and is sort of just making mess. Cirrus, having blustered you into a chair, says, "Oh, please sit. Thank you. Excuse me. What's going on? What do you mean you're taking Hayden? What is going on, huh? Please explain yourself to Balthazar."
Oh, you're asking me about my full title. That'll get you far, thank you. Alright, well, I'm not privy to the entirety of, kind of, like, looks confusedly at Thistle and kind of glances back at Pipistrel, of whatever agreements were made, but when we initially met Hayden, he had expressed interest to travel to Summit with us, as he felt he does not quite fit in here at Grinder's Nest. And apparently there are parties here at Grinder's Nest who would be more interested in seeing Hayden escorted to Summit safely and to find for himself a place there, as Apparently
She
he's
throws. I think she was holding like the start of a basket in her hands, like the base. That you then kind of make the walls from. She has sort of like a squarish basket base, and she's kind of been holding it in her claws this time, and then she throws it on the ground. I bet it was that Kiva, that vermin Kiva. What has she been saying about Hayden? No, they don't force him out. What is going on? No, this is wrong.
Kiva,
Whoever paid you, I won't let you do this.
Well, oh, sorry, Thistle? Yeah.
Sorry, excuse me. Thistle's just like, paid?
No, I don't know if there was any payment involved, but I suppose a favor was on the line, is my understanding. And while I suppose I quite selfishly say we are quite keen on seeing that favor realized, Hayden's decision is also his to make, and he looks to be packing.
And Ceres kind of just says, like, Hayden is barely old enough to be out on his own. I only just convinced him just to move close enough to that tree, and he has a broken wick. Hayden, you have a broken wick. What are you doing? Put that down. That's not even washed.
Hayden...
And Hayden kind of pauses with, like, dirty laundry and goes, oh, good point. And then grabs some clean laundry.
I think Balthazar kind of blinks and says, wait a second, how old is Hayden? Is he a child? I'm sorry, I've never met any bad children, I don't know. I don't know, he doesn't have a tail like we do when we're very different when we're very, very small. I don't think I've met children, I'm sorry.
I know we never really kind of got a really solid answer on the idea of age in animals. So I'm going to say he's like young adult, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like 20,
like 20s.
21, 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's 20. Like,
okay,
he's not a baby, and he's not a child or just out of childhood, but like...
let's be real, yeah, I see a 20-year-old, I'm just like, baby.
Mm-hmm. Like, in theory, you'd let him leave, but you'd watch him, because he'd do something stupid, like be in a tree in the middle of a lightning storm.
I mean, yeah. Happens to the best of us. Is she able to is Cyrus able to assure Balthazar that this is not a baby?
Yeah, she says he's 20. No, he's too young to be traveling to Summit with a broken arm and no prospects. What are you doing? No, you can't. He's safe here. There's food and shelter for the winter. He can heal up, and then maybe in the spring he can start traveling. But no, don't. And she seems genuinely like she goes through those different emotional stages very quickly.
Aww.
There's like the reactionary anger, and then there's sort of bewilderment, anger, and then sort of bargaining or pleading.
Thistle steps in now. So there's a Wicker Weaver guild up at Summit. Will fit in just fine. He's got plenty of time to heal up for the winter. Leave some baskets. Bob's your uncle.
Cirrus replies and says, the Wicker Weaver Guild is a hall with some stuff in. There's no food. There's maybe 1 or 2 animals there, and they pitch in from other guilds to keep the hall ready and running. It's a supply closet.
Thistle looks a little desperately at Balthazar and Pip.
And I think Cirrus turns to you, Pipistrel. And where there was like pleading with Balthazar and Thistle, it's back to sort of like the worst kind of anger, disappointment.
Back to bat.
Oh no!
And Cirrus turns to you and says, of all beasts, I thought you would understand that he can't travel in this state. How could you agree to this?
She's like kind of caught in her throat. She's sort of trying to think over something to say, and ultimately just settles on, it's like, I didn't agree to this.
I would like you to make either a cunning or a willpower roll for me, because you're telling a lie. Or you're making an emotional connection with Cirrus, and you're trying to be like, I'm on your side, and how this comes across will be how you roll will be how Cirrus takes that emotion. Currently, the situation is you're telling a lie. You were there for the deal, and you did agree to it. Or at least you didn't vocally disagree. You weren't like, no, we won't do that. You let Thistle go off and have a private, get some kind of private reward from the top burner Callum.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then you did talk to Hayden behind her back. Like, it's not a good situation. I was going to say you have disadvantage on the roll, but you can make a cunning or willpower, however you want to phrase how you're trying to win Cirrus over to see your side of things.
I feel like there are two roads in front of me, because if I go down the cunning route, I feel like that's... Oh, I don't know. I feel like that's a kind of deception that Pipistrel has never actually had before. Like, she's been... she's played the idiot to get information from people before, but she's never, like, outright been a liar, if that makes sense. Like, it in my head anyway, she's never been, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Whereas, like, I feel like willpower, she doesn't necessarily agree with how Thistle was like, oh, we need the bat, let's go get the bat, even though she had said, like, oh, but he doesn't want to come. But equally she didn't stop Thistle from saying, like, she didn't say, like, absolutely not. No, he said, no, we're not going. So I feel like, while I have also, just as a player, like, I have a better cunning dice, but I feel like willpower narratively makes more sense.
You're appealing to emotion rather than appealing to logic.
Yeah, she's appealing to another bat, and she also had that interesting conversation with Hayden about this bat colony that she's been looking for, and like, she knew that he was going to leave eventually. It was just whether or not he would leave now, I guess. Okay, am I rolling at disadvantage then?
You're rolling at disadvantage unless you tag something, and I also, just as narrator to player, would like to clarify that also, from my recollection, I haven't replayed the scene, but I don't think you ever asked Hayden if he wanted to come with you guys. You just talked about travels.
Yeah, it's because I got the impression that I got the impression that he didn't, like, he was kind of comfortable at home, and also, like, in the back of her head, I think she was also thinking about Cirrus, like, Cirrus would be alone,
yeah, I understand. I just wanted to clarify that we were all on the same page and you didn't think you had asked him, and so No. Cool.
I think
amazing.
The only thing I could, I don't think I could tag anything really. Wall climbing. Pipistrel climbs away from the situation.
Oh my god, it's so amazing! Of course, I see your point of view.
Come up here and see my point of view. No. Oh shit. Okay, it's gonna have to be roll at disadvantage. I can't think of anything to tag.
Okay.
No!
Oh, hijinks!
No!
Something goes terribly wrong. The narrative describes how things go awry, and hijinks may follow. You rolled a 1 and a 2.
No!
So you were using willpower, so it's an appeal to emotion. What sort of things are you saying to get Cirrus to, like... Because you started with, like, I didn't agree to this.
Yeah.
What else do you follow up with?
I feel like she's kind of loose on all fronts at this point, because, like, saying that she didn't agree to this is not a particularly nice thing to say in front of, like, Thistle and Balthazar, who are like, well, that's not true. But also, like, to Cirrus, that's like, well, you must have agreed in some part because you're here. So, like, on all sides, that everyone's like, Pip, you're a little liar.
I feel like you descend into sort of excuses.
Yes.
And they just babble out of you, and Cirrus looks at you first with, like, as I said, like, that kind of disappointment of, like, oh, how could you? And then sort of distaste of,
no.
Oh, you're not the bat I thought you were.
No.
I thought you were nice. I thought you were looking out for Hayden and for other beasts. Like, there's a shift in view on Cirrus's end, and you sort of peter into just mumbles and then silence. And there's at this point you look over and you see that Hayden has a rough knapsack of stuff put together, and there is just awkward silence.
Oh,
In the
this is
room.
awful. I think. I feel like Pippa now is in that her own state of like she's trying to like bargain, with Cirrus, and, I think she'd say things like, it's not like this is forever. He will, of course, he'll come back, to be with you, and we'll take good care of him. He's. I broke my wing. I know how to look after a broken wing. We'll keep him really safe. I promise. We'll keep him safe.
It's just very much like emotionally stony-faced.
Oh, man.
Attempts at connection with Cirrus from you were cut off.
Oh, this sucks. I think she kind of she's reads the expression on Cirrus's face, and she just. I think at this point she flatly gives up. She kind of looks at Hayden, with sad eyes, and she doesn't look at Balthazar or Thistle. I think she feels really guilty, and she just walks out of the house. She's just gonna wait outside. She's like, I'm not wanted here. I'm gonna go.
Cirrus very coolly turns to you and Thistle, Balthazar and Thistle, that is, and says, "If you would excuse us, I'm going to talk with Hayden for a moment. I think you know where the door is."
Yes, ma'am. Balthazar gets up from the stool that he apparently was sat on in the meantime.
I feel like you were kind of, because you were half blasted and shoved into it, you're sort of sitting backwards on it. It's like a knee stool, but you're just sort of all in the wrong angle and your legs have been up in the air and you're sort of okay, and you sort of roll onto the floor and then get up.
Yeah. Backwards roll. Steps out without any further comment or anything.
Thistle.
He'll hold the door for Thistle, being let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think in this situation, the coldness is the tone in Cirrus's voice gets through even to Thistle.
Yeah.
And they follow Balthazar out.
Yep.
So you three, the door promptly shuts behind you. There's I think even if you close it behind you, there's sort of an extra shove.
Yeah.
To really make sure it's shut.
Yeah. Yep.
All three of you are now standing outside the house. It is a lovely, crisp, cool, but the sun is warm, late morning in late autumn.
Balthazar kind of inhales, taking in that nice fresh air and says, "Well, that went horribly. My dear Thistle, I don't think I've seen you interface with your patients much, but do you truly think that was quite the appropriate manner to approach this situation? It's a rather emotional thing to deal with. I believe we could have had a better opening gambit than approaching those two in that way."
Oh, well, I mean, wanted to go. I thought we were all on the same page. They look over at Pipistrel, and apparently not.
Oh.
But I thought it was a done deal. I thought it was back at the tree during the storm.
I mean, right before coming here, we realized that there is an issue and that we must speak with Hayden once more. Perhaps it was a matter of miscommunication, but the deal was not, as you say, done. It was a matter of approaching or breaching the subject once more, and the rather candid manner was perhaps a little too much.
Thistle's claws that kind of ring the strap of their bag. And oh well, I mean, I thought it was all right. So they look away.
Pipistrel, because you have superior hearing, I would like you to make a cunning roll for me to see how much of the conversation. And you're nosy. You can't help yourself.
Yeah, no, she's.
How much of the conversation do you listen or do you hear through the door?
Can I tag? Can I tag my keen ears? Am I allowed to tag my keen ears for this one? It's like she hears like raised voices and she can't help
normally
herself.
No, because your keen ears is letting you have this check because you're nosy and you
see.
have keen
Apologies.
ears. But I'm going to give you advantage because you're not trying at all to not hear this conversation. So yeah, you have advantage.
Okay. Thank you.
That was a 5 and a 1, so we'll go with a 5.
Yay!
You do as well as you can. You hear bits of it, and there are bits of it that really sting.
Oh no! Oh god! What are they saying?
Cirrus is the one who seems to be mostly talking.
Mhm.
It's stuff like you get the I'm going to go for the overall gist. Cirrus is giving advice to Hayden about how to stay safe out in the world for real, not just in a tree a day away from the village. Like, as if she's not expecting Hayden to come back.
Oh my god!
For a while. And there are points where some of the advice is like, you can go with these people, but don't trust them. They trade in beasts' lives. That shows where their loyalty is.
Oh boy!
Oh my god!
That's on me.
Like, and you don't feel like it's, to some degree, this might be guilt, but you don't get the sensation that she's doing this to turn Hayden against you. All of this seems to come from a very, like, sibling-based love and protection.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I
But
feel
yeah,
like
some pretty, like, harsh things are muttered about both you specifically and also the group specifically.
Oh no! I feel
Like stuff like, not all bats can be trusted.
Oh!
Don't... if you think someone is there to help you, consider what they have to bargain and what they're trying to get out of you.
Oh my god, this is awful.
The guild doesn't have... like, the Wicker Weavers don't have as much influence as you'd think, coming from Grinder's Nest, that sort of stuff.
I almost feel like, even though she can't help herself, and she is such a little nosy so-and-so, I do genuinely feel like there is part of Pipistrel that's like, I wish I couldn't hear this. I don't want to hear this. Like, with her superior bat hearing, she's like, but I, like, unless she, like... I think she gets to a point where she hears too much. Like, Cirrus, I think particularly that part of, like, Cirrus saying, like, don't trust that bat, I think is too much for her, and she walks away from the house. I think she walks out of earshot. She doesn't want to hear anymore. She doesn't tell the other two, though. She just kind of walks away, and they're like, oh.
Thistle does not want to be left alone with Balthazar after being reprimanded like this.
Oh no!
Whoops. Sorry. You're just like, you can't just walk into people's houses and kidnap them. That's not sound.
Balthazar spitting hard truths.
I think, because I don't imagine, that exchange wasn't very long between Balthazar and Thistle, and I think he was going to turn to Pipistrel, because she was obviously kind of, shook.
Oh yeah.
And then I imagine that, like, she has turned and walked away, and he's just like, Pip, are you quite alright? I know that didn't go perfectly, and Cyrus was not happy, but misunderstandings happen, and Pipistrel?
I think she turns back kind of half, like you sort of see her in profile, and she just has little tears in her eyes. And she looks so lost, and she just, like, she kind of hurries and sort of, she does her little T-Rex run, and she just starts, like, sort of trotting away.
No.
She kind of can't bear to be around them right now. She is very upset with herself.
God.
I think it's
This
for the
all
maximum
really
drama.
cool.
It's at this point that the door opens.
The rain
To the
comes.
house.
Yeah.
The door opens to the house, and Cirrus comes out, and closes the door, like pulls it shut behind her. Looks around, doesn't see you, Pipistrel. Sees that you're absent, and then kind of turns to Thistle and Balthazar and just says to both of you, "You keep him safe, okay? I can't stop him from leaving. He's his own bat, but if he doesn't come back..." She sort of shakes her head a little bit.
Yeah. Balthazar kind of bows his head and he says, Cyrus, I know that here, perhaps my title or allegiance doesn't carry much weight, but it is nonetheless a weight that I carry with me and that I'm proud of. On my honor as a Knight of Blueberry Pond, I will make sure that he gets to Summit and that he is safe and sound, and that he comes back to you, and he will be able to tell you that he has found himself a wonderful life there.
You're making an emotional connection, but it's also sort of like an oath. It could be either vigor or willpower to try and connect with Cirrus.
Yeah, I will do willpower, and I would like to tag my do-gooder from Aspirant. My
Okay,
aspirant,
yeah. I'll let you make a roll then, at advantage. That's an 8 and a 6. That is success. I feel like because Cirrus doesn't know toads, in the same way that she thought she knew bats, she sort of nods a little bit. Some of the unspoken threat leaves the energy that she's carrying, but I would say that there's sort of like almost like a pitiful impotence. There's nothing she can do if Hayden doesn't come back. And everyone here kind of, or at least between you and her, you both know that. But it's still nice that you said that you tried to keep Hayden safe anyway.
Yeah. I think Balthazar will also just say, I do apologize for the great misunderstanding of this situation. I don't think I quite myself understood the weight of certain promises made or agreements forged, and I am amiss that Hayden leaving would be on a sour note. I can only hope that you and him are fine. Like with each other.
She takes a deep breath. And kind of again, she kind of reaffirms, I couldn't stop him from leaving. It was so sudden and such a shock, and he's injured. And the last time went so poorly. And it took so long to get him ready for that. And she sort of just shrugs her wings a little bit. What does this do?
Thistle sort of steps forward and goes, it might not sound as grand as a promise from a toad knight. I am a stitcher, and a stitcher's word is final. I looked after his wing when it was broken. I'll look after him now.
She sort of nods at that as well. I feel it adds to the sort of the promise that Balthazar made.
Mm-hmm.
And she sort of just nods and doesn't say anything. Unless Balthazar, you had something to say?
Oh, Balthazar just kind of, like, because I think he's very happy to hear Thistle say this. And he says, well, between a knight and a stitcher, I think that your brother is in good hands.
And she nods at that, and then sort of casts an eye around for Pipistrelle, but can't necessarily see her at a glance. And says, yes, the guidance of a knight and a stitcher. And then she turns and opens the door, and you can see that Hayden is there as well. Sort of in a similar way that Pipistrelle was like listening and couldn't not listen, Hayden is there and couldn't not listen. And Hayden seems very eager. You notice that the pack that he has, which was rather slapped together when he was putting it together with one wing, is now much more neatly tied and bound. It sort of like slings over his good wing and rests on his back, sort of like a very lumpy flight sack. The last thing that she says, or Sirius says, I don't know if this is possible, but is there some way that you could possibly maybe make his wing less of a liability? You notice that his whole wing is just stretched out behind him, one long, like it's fully extended, and he just sort of has it rotating at like the shoulder joint.
No, Thistle, I suppose this would be your expertise.
Yeah, Thistle just gets to work. No words needed.
Yeah.
Making a little
there's some wincing from Hayden, but otherwise you're able to like to break and then make new struts to hold part of the wing that's broken in place, but also allow the wing to be folded up and then put into a sling, so that it's not just like rattling around behind him.
I think before we leave and we set off to find Pip and head on our way, Thistle sort of hesitates before leaving the little house and kind of gives a guilty look towards Balthazar, then turns to Sirius and says, sorry as well.
And Sirius, I'd like you to make you're making an emotional connection, so I want you to make a willpower roll for me.
Okay.
That feels like the most suitable here. You can tag something if you want, or just roll, yeah.
You say roll, I roll.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say you can tag something or just make the roll, but yeah. Anyway, so you rolled a 6, which is success, and I feel like Sirius nods at you, and it has a tinge, like a reminiscent... It triggers the same part of your brain when like a tutor would nod at you for like doing something right, or like getting a question right in a quiz or something like that back at Holdall. And there's a slight sense of approval. Even though you're too old for that now, of course, and you're very professional, you're a stitcher. But it does mean something.
It does.
With that, Hayden is full of questions. I say like you're walking away from the house now and Sirius is done, goes back into the house and sort of closes the door. Hayden's like, so what route are we going? And have you ever traveled to Summit before? And this is going to be so cool. I've never been to the big city. And is very, very excited.
Unfortunately for Thistle, Balthazar will be very happy to indulge all these questions.
That's what I was going to say. Thistle moves, so they're walking on the other side of Balthazar.
Yeah.
A sound blocker.
Yeah, and Balthazar's just like, yeah, young Hayden, we will be taking the path of lesser resistance in terms of the footpath underneath, but right with apparently bandits and nadoers, and just, he's just like hyping it up.
Reading a tale.
I feel like anything you say to hype up the road to Summit, it's like a puppy. Any excitement you put in, Hayden gives back twice as much.
I think Balthazar does enjoy this, because I imagine that back in the log, like, he would like to spend time with his, like, baby cousins, like the tadpoles, like, talking with them and stuff, and regaling them with, like, tales of like, fighting and stuff like that. So, he's just like, Hayden has, like, a little tale as well, so... Because in Toad society, like, if you, like, the kind of words for, like, someone who's, like, a greenhorn is that they're, like, fresh-tailed or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, a creature with a tail is, like, a baby, because tadpoles have tails and adult toads don't. So he's just like, young one, let me tell you. And he's just like, I'm the uncle now.
Yeah.
Oh,
It reminds you
cute.
of when you used to have to do babysitting duty for all 100 of your cousins.
Yeah.
And you'd tell stories, and like popped corn, they'd be bouncing out of the little shallow pool they were in.
Yeah, just saying, please, please, tell us more, tell us more. And he's just like, oh. Yeah, he loves it.
There's a little video of a frog sort of like croaking at just the right pitch that it causes all of the water to like vibrate and oscillate at like the perfect. And I feel like they do that for storytelling, and all the tadpoles are like, ah! Like it's like a wave pool.
Yeah, it's part of the story. It's like, on your like Switch controller when you have vibration on and like you do
Oh my god.
It's like, so it's the same. It's like, and then the thundering boar and like the water starts shaking and the tadpoles are like, it's here, it's here. Are you me dad? Are you me mom?
I keep forgetting that tadpoles are like little cockney babies. Like
little
Victorian children.
Yeah. All of them, like regardless of gender, anything, they're all. It's the same how like all toads are just old Victorian men, even if they're like ladies or non gender.
Victorian men or Victorian orphans.
Yeah, there's no in between. Anyway,
that's a little flash that makes you feel a little warm inside, being so far from any toad log, let alone home.
Yeah.
And I say that you meet at the front of the village. I think Pipistrel, wherever you've wandered, you see that they're moving towards the front of the village, and you can choose to join them if you wish.
Pipistrel has situated herself up in a nearby tree. And she is drawing a picture of the village from a kind of, from a tree point of view. Because she wants to kind of commit as much of the town to memory as possible. But she sees that they're all walking to the kind of towards like the town boundaries, so she's
make a cunning roll for me.
Ooh, okay. Oh wait, I've lost my roll.
You have disadvantage, and it's to spot things, to spot details. So if you want to tag anything,
can I tag my staying alert? Just those
yes, you
damn
can.
Ears and bat senses.
It's a straight roll then.
Hooray!
You rolled a 7. You are scribbling and drawing. You're trying to get mostly like the outlines and the shapes of buildings. You're just sort of drawing the spaces in between them rather than the buildings themselves. It's a good technique you found. And your little eyes kind of are wandering over. You see like the river. Because you're high up, you see the other side of the river as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a slight shift in the shadows. That on this scale just puts your hackles up, and you realize you think you just saw at least the shape of it. You just saw Fagner.
I saw the bear?
Yes, in the shadows of the trees on the other side of the river.
Oh boy! Oh boy! I think she's like, I like to imagine that she's doing that kind of artist thing when you're drawing from real life, where you're like looking down, then looking back at your whatever you're drawing, and back down again.
I think maybe actually you realize, because you're drawing the outlines and you're sort of like in a meditative state, and you look down again. You look at a shape and go, huh? And then you look up, and the bear's gone, but you've drawn a bear on the page.
Oh, I think a little, I think she gets like a little chill, like her fur like ruffles underneath her flight suit and underneath her hood. And she like starts looking around in the direction of where she had been looking before, like, bear? Was there a bear? And she's like she stands up, and like starts listening. It's probably too far away, but she's scared now.
You look around and you look for it, but it feels like it was passing and is now gone. But there's just a little reminder that it is out there. It's not a myth. You just saw it.
She, like, not in like that kind of creepy, like clairvoyant way, but I think she gets like her trademark Pipistrel bad feeling. And she's like even in her kind of slightly, she feels really bad right now. She's not very happy, and she feels very out with like her her emotions and stuff, but like her fear of that bear and everything, she's like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the others now. I think enough brooding, enough being dramatic. So she's gonna fly down to them. She put all of her stuff away very carefully back into her flight bag, and she's gonna fly back down to them.
So you spot them by the front of the village, and you sort of like glide flat, because bats can't glide. They sort of are leathery bags.
Yep, leathery bag.
You just sort of your way down, and you sort of hear the of Pipistrel arriving. I don't know if you heard that beautiful rendition.
No, I did.
General
Yeah.
bat noises.
So you get down, and you are now ready to leave. Unless you have parting words, I think we should get on with the journey.
Indeed. I think Balthazar, kind of just seeing Pipistrel, will as she lands, he'll just kind of say, "Are you well to travel, Pipistrel?"
She looks at him and like she smiles. Doesn't quite beat her eyes, but she smiles and she nods.
Yeah.
And just kind of like shuffles her backpack and everything and starts like T-Rex walking her way out of the village.
Yeah. Before she manages to like walk away, Balthazar will say, well, as you know, we now have a ward under our protection, and with banditry ahead, we need to remain vigilant, and having eyes in the sky will be of utmost importance.
She kind of like stops for a second and says, "Oh, yes, of course, the bandits, the road, yes. I can. Well, I'll be our lookout then." And again, she kind of does that kind of like smile, but doesn't quite meet her eyes sort of thing.
Pipistrel, Hayden's safety means very much to Cyrus. And I know that you two didn't leave on a very good note. But you can only look forward to what's ahead now. And Hayden's safety means the world to her.
She nods and kind of she actually smiles this time, it's a sad smile, but it's like an actual smile, and she like pats Balthazar on the arm, and like looks over to Hayden, who I assume is still quite excitedly kind of like ready to go.
Make a cunning roll for me.
Oh,
just a straight cunning roll.
Ooh, okay. God damn it! No.
I kind of. Yeah, Hayden looks really excited when you glance over.
Sure, okay.
And it's something comforting for Pipistrel, actually, that Hayden just seems excited to go on the journey.
Fair enough. Yeah, she feels a bit bolstered by that. Yeah, she's ready to go. All sad and brooding.
So, you start to head out on what is called the High Road. We're going to take ourselves over to the map so we can look at what's going on. Pew! This is where we're at. You are at Grinder's Nest, which is just here. And the path that you are taking is what I'm drawing in red here. You're kind of coming out of the village and moving along this kind of path up here, curving through the rising hills and meadows towards Summit. That's the hope, at least. The journey is going to take 3 days. We're going to play through those days and the sorts of things that you encounter as you go. You're going to consume 1 food item from your inventory per person on this trip. As you go. Hayden has enough food for himself for this trip.
Oh, good. We don't have to share.
So, the first leg of your journey, which I will now draw, is coming out of Grinder's Nest and then coming onto the beaten track up to about here.
Okay.
So I would like everyone to tell me what sort of precautions they're taking on the road, and what they're getting up to. If they're talking about anything, if they want to try and achieve anything during rests, that sort of thing. The weather today is clear. It's just been after a storm. The sun is warm and the wind is cold, and you're traveling through meadow. So this path is beaten. You're moving through grass to begin with, but after a short leg of that journey, you move on to a beaten path that is sort of like more flat earth. It's not cobbled; it's just a dirt path. More like a rabbit furrow, if that makes sense. Through like that sort of size, but a little bit more well traveled because a lot of animals do pass through it. But their carts are small, that sort of thing. It's not muddy or too muddy. It's wet. The earth is wet, but it's not churned to grossness just yet.
So it's not exactly like a difficult walk then for all the terrestrial bound beasts.
Not exactly.
Oh, it's okay then. That's not too bad.
So I'll go down the list actually. Atlanta and then Ver and then Eve. What are you achieving or what are you doing on this hike?
I feel like Pip is kind of acting as as the little sort of lookout, little scout. So she's sort of taking taking moments to go and fly above them, check around them, because obviously it is a meadow, so there'll be long grass and things like that, but it'll be kind of quite open, and there's no trees. Leg first.
No, first leg.
First leg.
First leg of our journey.
First leg. So she's kind of scouting around, keeping an eye out for things, keeping an eye out for birds of prey, hawks, of that kind of thing, eagles potentially. But then as to not expend all of her energy, then she'll come down and walk for a while. But she's very she's very quiet, but she's also keeping a very close eye on Hayden. Just sort of she's just watching him basically. She's sort of seeing how he moves and how his wing is, and she's being kind of annoyingly attentive in a way, to the point where I feel like for Hayden, he's what is this bat doing? A
little smothering.
Yes, a lit's bit. She's being kind of annoying.
Okay, so will you make a cunning roll for me as you're flying in the sky?
Yeah. Can I tag my unassuming presence, because I'm just a little tiny dot in the air, and she's sort of using the wind and sort of not spending too much time in the air.
Okay, yeah, I'll let you make a I'll let you roll, but you're less conspicuous. That's just an assumed fact. So it's a straight roll, but you're less conspicuous.
Ooh, okay.
So that is a 6. You do as well as you can. So you're kind of flying up and spotting around. I'm gonna say that you actually spot over kind of west ways towards Shrewsbury. In the middle of this area here, you actually spot a herd of red deer.
Wow.
Far off, not to be worried about, but just sort of grazing in the late afternoon meadow, kind of picking for shoots and that sort of thing. And they pay no mind whatsoever. They're just sort of these bee moths moving across the land.
I was gonna say, I feel it's kind of, it's cool to see behemoths. It's cool to see herbivorous behemoths anyway, because obviously they're not dangerous initially. They can be, but because they're so big. But it's just cool to see creatures of that size just kind of doing their thing. I think she would tell everybody that that she saw red deer.
I think at this, Hayden's wait, what? Deer? I hear they're like horses, and he tries to hop above the brush he's behind, and he can't see them. And they're really far off. There's no way he could see them. But he's clearly excited and disappointed that he can't fly right now.
Oh. I think she feels a tremendous amount of sympathy for him in this moment, because right back to those early days of Beast Fables where Pip couldn't fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, like, I think she would like explain that. She's like, she would probably like she'd tell him about like what it was like not being able to fly, but also I think she'd tell him like what they looked like and what they were doing, and like give him like a detailed description, so at least he feels like a little bit included.
Balthazar would suggest that later that night when we're staying, maybe she can draw them for him.
I think she would definitely agree to that.
Because he would also know what they look like.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think he'll kind of be like, that's the toll of us landwalkers, eh? Just kind of like do like a little very gentle like elbow kind of tap to Hayden, like, oh, you're one of us now, haha, we can't see anything. And like, oh, maybe Pipistrel will graciously draw a red deer for us. He would also like to know what they look like.
That's really cute.
So, that is what you get up to for this day of journey. Balthazar of Blueberry Pond.
Oh god, there was something I wanted to ask you. Oh, yes, DM, I wanted to ask, do we still have our auto self stuff?
You do. You do still have that stuff.
What it is.
You do.
Can you tell us? Can you regale us?
Yes, I'll take us back to the sheet. It was written above the card. Balthazar has an auto other, Pip has an auto other, and Thistle has an auto self.
Okay, I forgot about
that. I recommend that
you
scribble that in the notes of your character sheet as well, and that way they'll always be there with you.
Auto other. Auto other. Okay, cool. Ooh. All right. Wish I had done that. For one of Pip's natural ones. Sorry, Pip. I forgot that we have that until just now. In any case, well, I think Balthazar is because he trusts Pipistrel up in the air. She has never I think failed in scouting duties or anything. So he's kind of like, okay, I'm focusing on the road. So I think he's just kind of, because Thistle's smaller than him, and Hayden is also smaller and also injured, I think he's just making sure that we keep pace, while also trying not to overburden anyone. So he'd be happy to take Hayden's pack for a while, and if he's just kind of almost on the road quartermastering, I guess, sort of making sure that everyone's kind of the warden here, making sure that everyone's fine, but that we do keep the pace, that we're not falling behind, since these are treacherous roads, or not treacherous, but these are dangerous roads. We don't want to unnecessarily extend our stay.
I want you to make a roll. You can tell me how you want to approach this, but Hayden seems hesitant for you to take his pack. This is a little mini, a moment of to explore here, because you're let me take your pack, and he's like, I'm fine. I can totally carry this. Don't worry.
Does he look like he can totally carry it?
It would help if you took it.
Oh,
and
okay,
also the size that Hayden is, and the size, because Hayden is smaller than Pipistrel, I'd say.
Oh, baby,
because he's
tiny.
He's like a common Pipistrel, isn't he?
Yeah, that's the fun thing, is he's a Pipistrel and you're a brown-eyed bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as he kind of when initially I think Balthazar just takes that as him being nice, or no, I don't need any help, but he's just being nice, and Balthazar will say no, the journey may seem all fun and games for now, but this is 3 days of hiking ahead of us, and if you haven't traveled much before, you really do need to keep your strengths about you. Exerting you on the first day of journey would be a rather foolish thing to do, and I have some spare muscle to lend here and there. I'd be very happy to take that pack. In fact, I suppose I would insist, just on account of making sure that you are fit to go through this journey with us.
So I feel like you're appealing to like routine and skill. So I'd say this could be a vigor roll.
Yeah.
Of sensibleness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I would like to tag
appealing to sensibility.
I would like to tag my... I think I've tagged this the most this game. Taking care of equipment. Where he... the way that, he packs his stuff and the way that he's, like, able to carry it. Like, there's obviously room. And, in fact, he has just shifted his stuff around in a way where taking Hayden's pack would kind of balance out his stuff. So, you have that thing where like if someone like moves a backpack to like one shoulder, like their bags to one hand to take more, and you're kind of like, oh, it fits, it sits, I'll give you my stuff. So it's almost like
I'll let you roll with advantage then. I'll let you roll with advantage. I feel like you don't have t-shirts. Oh, critical success. You don't have t-shirts, but maybe you've got like a spare tabard. And you know how like there's the army roll for t-shirts where it packs really neatly and it's all in a little tube?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, have you ever seen this trick before? And you sort of like, whoosh, you undo the roll and a whole tabard comes out. And he's like, wow!
I'll teach you that when we make camp, yes. Very useful indeed.
And he does eventually, like, he's fine for like the first hour, and then he very shyly like taps you on the shoulder and he's like, I mean, if you wanted to take my bag.
Well, if you insist. You drive a hard bargain, good sir. And yeah, he'll happily take it, and I think just as he takes the pack, if there's like some like interesting noise or something, he'd like inquire like, oh, is that you're like wicker weaving, and then ask him about that, and just kind of make like a fun, friendly conversation based off of like what he packed, or if he's like, oh, my sister packed this, then he's just like talk about her and just kind of bring up some kind of nice like basically to elicit some kind of nice personal anecdote from Hayden, just to kind of make him feel sort of involved and take away some of that like monotony of travel and make the way.
And I think he
nicer.
He kind of talks to you and talks to everyone. He sort of like saves some of these stories for when like Pipistrel you're walking along with the group as well. But he does talk about his sister, how like their parents went elsewhere when they were younger, and he kind of left Sirius just kind of take care of him. And how, like, he loves her, but also she's always been really overbearing. And how it's so exciting to be walking. He's never left the village past, like, foraging. And so it's exciting to go this far south. He's sort of having, like a Frodo... Not Frodo. Sam Gamgee. Oh, this is the furthest I've ever stepped away from the Shire. And then next step, this is the furthest I've been from the Shire. And, yeah.
That's cute.
Delightful.
So, Eve, what are you up to?
I think Thistle is actually taking this first leg of the journey to do some self-reflection. The entire Grinder's Nest visit was a little bit of a mess for them in terms of like interaction, I'm going to say. And they didn't really see it that way, maybe until Balthazar was like, well, that was a bit rude. So, they're walking and they're just sort of thinking back to like, oh, was it rude? Guess it was a little rude. Then sort of applying that thinking to the other interactions they've had thus far with this group. Like, oh, was I rude other times? I don't want to be seen as rude. I want to be seen as very professional. That's a sort of a hard thing to think about yourself. So they're just kind of traipsing behind, not falling behind, but not really taking part in any of the conversation, just like following Balthazar wherever he steps.
Yeah. Okay. That doesn't take a roll. You just gotta have those thoughts for a bit.
I'm gonna wallow.
Yeah. What? Because wallow is a lovely word. I love wallow. I feel like I have two questions for like Thistle's internal monologue. What does Thistle regret the most, and what does Thistle want to do differently if Thistle thinks that there is a way that could be done differently? Because I'm not going to tell Thistle how they're thinking.
Yeah. I think because so much of their thinking is revolved around the act of being a stitcher and like helping people, once they are no longer in need of stitching services, Thistle has no interest in conversing with them past that point. So maybe moving forward, they'll want to apply a little bit more of the stitcher care to a conversation when it's not directly related to them needing stitching assistance.
Okay. So considering that, and as you're walking along, it's one of those days when you kind of spend a lot of time looking at the ground, and then you look up and suddenly it's like dark, if that makes sense. You know, like time just passes. And the wind starts to really cool very quickly as you get to like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and the sun is setting. Because it's like that kind of time of year where like, oh, it's dark. And you start to think about setting camp, where you're going to camp, what are you going to do about sleeping tonight, what are the thoughts, guys? It's the evening of the first day.
Watches! I'll take the first and last one.
I was gonna say, I feel like that's one of the first things that happens when we're like, okay, it's too dark now to kind of keep walking. I like the idea that Balthazar's like, we need to set the watches now. Who's doing what and when?
Yeah.
I don't know. I love that. I think it's
Shutting up. Alpha Omega, go to point A. I'm a soldierman. I played Call of Duty. I don't know. I think Balthazar's very like Mud Fury. We're setting up camp. There might be enemies. Can't sleep.
I'm gonna say
enemies around.
Because this is about being observant of your surrounding and being strategic. I'd like Balthazar to make a cunning roll for me. You saw it coming.
I would like
is that
to
Penny or is that you?
For once, it's me. I would like to tag my aspiring Mud Fury, but I think that's like his aspiration to be like an excellent Mud Fury. In his aspirant job to help me along for this, as he's just like, I will apply my knowledge.
I am going to keep in mind that I have an auto other.
Oh, that's very interesting. Thank you. I will now roll. Can I roll with advantage for my aspiring Mud Fury?
Yes, you can.
I am a good boy. Yo! Yeah. Whoa, that's
double
that's
critical success.
I build a fort.
You establish a new log.
Yeah.
This is now a real-time strategy defense game.
Yeah. Yep.
You find a good camping ground. You spot sort of, I'm gonna say maybe, because it's all meadow and brush, so you find actually a little bit of I'm gonna say an abandoned rabbit hole.
Ooh,
warren. It's not a full warren. It seems to just be like a lean-to that was dug some time ago. Since then, plants have kind of little bits of roots are sticking through the wall. It's a single chamber, and it's not even a chamber at that. Like it's half open, but it seems to have been a shelter that was you dug and used and then left some time ago, and it's off the beaten track a little bit. Kind of bounce, so you kind of off searching around. You actually find the trails of it, old signs of kind of footsteps and breaks in the ground. Maybe like an old bit of wheel track that's been like a wagon has come through, and it's kind of like a little remnant of that dug into the mud where some grass has started to grow through it again. And you find this old lean-to, and with sufficient help from the group, you're able to like get a fire going and make it fairly safe and cozy.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I was hoping you didn't hear that. Sorry. Icky Luck, you started crying just now.
Oh. You remember to feed Icky Lucky, who happily chomps on something.
Bug
Blade of
food.
grass. Bug
Yeah,
food.
I
Leaves.
don't
Oh.
Hang on, I'm gonna check. What?
And you get ready for the night. Aside from what you described already, is there anything that you guys would like to do? I know you're going to do watches. I'm not going to do like watch rolls and that sort of stuff, but you guys are staying pretty safe.
I think like while things are like sort of setting up the little lean-to, I think like Pip's been like gathering some twigs and dried leaves and things to make a nice little campfire. Like, you know, just to keep the cold-bloodeds warm even, and you know, to toast the fur of the mammalian people here, mammalian beasts.
Fire. Yeah. So you've got a nice little safe campsite. Is there anything like talking or chatting is what I meant, like you wanted to do, or activities other than just like fade to black in the morning?
I feel like
Draw the deer! I demand to see the deer!
yeah, I think as soon as like Pip's like laid the fire, I feel like Balthazar is just suddenly like next to Pipistrel with those very alarmed
scare noise.
There's like those alarming toad eyes, like, draw the deer, Pipistrel.
Would you like to play a game?
Yeah, no, I think once the fire's laid and everything and it's lit, I think Pip would sort of take out her drawing stuff and start like drawing the deer and kind of describing them and what they were doing to anyone who would be interested in that.
Balthazar will 100%, like, after you draw the deer and it's like really good, she's like, oh my god, oh my stars, and he's like, draw me, and then like, draw Thistle, and like, you know, it's just that like thing that people do where they're just like, can you draw Icky Lucky? And just demand that, because I don't think he's ever seen her draw. Or seen her drawings.
This is a very new thing that she picked up in those like months, like while Balthazar was away training to be a Bad Fury. She like had a lot of time on her own, and so she was like, I need to like, I want to do something. Like I need to do something useful, except aside from just gathering berries and things like that. So she started drawing and like making maps and things like that.
While you were learning to draw, I was studying the blade.
Exactly.
But I think like Balthazar loves this. He's super excited and he like wants to see her drawings. If she has like, you know, her sketchbook, he's just like begging to see it, and or for her to show stuff. He wants her to draw him. Oh my god, whoever drew this struck.
Oh, that was me.
Oh my god, that's so funny. He's just like begging her to draw him and draw everyone, and then he's just like, he's like thinking of, you know, he's like, oh, why don't you draw Lutzen? Why don't you draw like this person and that person? Like, it's just such like a tangible way for him to, you know, to like see these people again and see their memories, and he's very excited.
I have a funny feeling that like in the early pages of the sketchbook, and I think she's almost embarrassed to show them, there is a picture of Lutzen and Balthazar already that she drew months ago. When they were both away,
as with all
she was on her
drawings
own.
that people have made when they first start out, the quality is very different to what you're doing now.
Yes. Like she was like
looking at them. I feel like it not to judge art, but in a representational way. They do not first evoke Lutzen or Pipistrel or Balthazar, but when you're told that they are that, you're like, oh yeah, I see that.
Yeah, like she drew them, like she was still learning at this point, yeah, obviously, and also like she was kind of sad when she drew them, and she was trying to draw them from memory, like, you know, she like, which is hard. Like I have vague approximations of what all of you look like, but I don't think I would be able to draw you accurately from memory.
Is this an anime Balthazar?
Wait. Oh, so kawaii.
They're all, I just imagine that they're like anime versions of themselves.
They all have the same like silhouette.
Oh god.
Yeah.
But she'll go through and sort of like list some of the places that she's like been. So like a lot of the like a lot of her drawings are like landscape drawings of like bits and pieces that she's seen. I also feel like because she draws to kind of like not just for like a useful purpose, but also just because she just enjoys it. In like a recent page, there is actually a little doodle of Thistle.
Aww.
Like a small one, but like it's not a very flattering image of Thistle. They look really grumpy. So Pip sees it and is like, oh, maybe I shouldn't show them this.
When Pipistrelle is drawing Thistle and Balthazar just now, is it like anatomically accurate?
I mean, I think so, because I think she'd kind of be drawing the scene, so it would be like Balthazar, Thistle, and Hayden all like sitting around the fire, and like Icky Lucky's like on Balthazar's head or shoulder or something.
I feel like
I think
Hayden.
Sorry.
So the thing with Hayden is that when you're drawing the deer, in like the worst artist way possible, because he has no experience of what good crit is. He's like, oh no, the legs don't go like that. I know, like, I've tried it. Legs don't go like that. And he sort of is like drawing in the ground, like what he thinks deer legs should be. And we as the audience know that that's wrong. They don't bend like that.
I think Thistle's first words of the night are probably going to be like, no, that is anatomically accurate.
Oh, I that was going to be something I was going to mention. I think at some point Pip was actually going to like kind of sidle over to Thistle and like try and engage them in conversation, like see how they are, because they've been so quiet today. Like even for Thistle,
they've been just kind of like sitting and watching the conversation.
Yeah,
and kind of like craning their necks slightly to see the drawings, but not really contributing much until now.
Oh, I feel like before she would say anything, Pip would like go over and just like just offer Thistle the sketchbook, just to see if they want to look through it.
They do. They have a flip through.
Yay!
Many of the animals are not anatomically correct. They get better as you go forward in the book.
I think they say that. They're just like, drawings get better. That's their compliment, is like,
you're improving.
You draw something that looks like the thing it's meant to be.
Well done. I think she'd take that. I think she'd like smile and say, thank you, Thistle. Because I think she too has also been very quiet today. Like she's been like up and flying and be like, nothing to report, no eagles, no hawks, nothing. She would have been like really excited about the deer, but then she would have been very quiet too. So I think in a way she's like, there's something on your mind as well, and is trying to like engage them, because like she feels better having like drawn people or drawn beasts even, and like showed everyone her drawings and things like that. Like that feels nice.
Okay, so I'm going to say that's the kind of conclusion of the evening. Maybe Thistle gives like a lecture about like leg bones.
Yeah, I'm telling Hayden to sit down and listen.
Mm-hmm. Hayden is very then excitedly like, oh, but what if legs did this? And then like bends the leg backwards. And like, what if kneecaps didn't exist? And it's just very enthusiastic.
Aww, that's cute.
It's wrong.
So, that, the night concludes. You all get the equivalent, I would say, of a full rest. So all of your dice restore to their base.
Yay!
Please remove one food item from your inventory each.
Goodbye, candied aphids. Oh wait, where did my
Gone.
candied aphids go? Oh, they're already gone. Did you delete them?
No, I moved them into your lunch slot because that's where food goes.
Oh yeah. Okay. Goodbye.
I wanted like more. I was making your carrying more efficient because you hadn't done it yourself, and I was being nice.
Sorry.
I am
Thank
removing
you.
No, I ate them.
the jar that's labeled a worm.
A worm.
Just
It's pickled in a brine, so it's kind of like a long, not crunchy pickle.
oh, yeah, very not crunchy. It's disgustingly slippery and
Delicious.
it's a gummy worm. It's a gummy worm.
Oh,
in
it's a
brine.
gummy worm.
Oh my god, it's a salty gummy worm.
Yep. It's a.
I feel like maybe it was
salmiakki
pickled
gummy
with
worm.
like some aniseed and some fennel, and so it's kind of like Swedish licorice.
Yeah, salmiakki. Salmiakki. The salty bleh. Candy.
The worst substance on the planet.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you eat it and you drink the brine, and it is it replenishes your electrolytes.
I love having my electrolytes replenished. Feels good.
There's like a little da-da-da-da-da.
Yeah. He croaks that noise as he drinks it. My electrolytes have been replenished.
Efficiency at 95%. The dawn breaks over the sky, and I feel like Hayden and Pipistrel, you're the first ones awake. Because you're both trained to be diurnal now, and you're warm-blooded, so you can wake up with the sun. Thistle and Balthazar are very much like asleep. The fire is burned to embers. It is almost cold. There's a little bit of like a small smolder deep in the pits of the ash. And I'd say like to wake your cold-blooded friends up, you stoke the fire, you get some more branches on, you get the warmth of it there so that they can warm up without waiting for the sun to go significantly across the sky and shine into the barrow. Mm-hmm. So you warm them up and you wake them up. And you have some time to sort of just quietly be around Hayden as opposed to flapping up in the sky, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. It's the second leg of the journey.
Interesting. Second leg.
Is this sort of bendy bit here.
Oh. Ah, okay, cool. The knee of the journey.
Mm-hmm. The kneecap. The first knee. So kind of doing this loop of Henley, sort of like wiggle backwards and forwards. Right. Again, I'm going to ask what you guys are getting up to. So you can do what you did yesterday, fairly similarly. If there's anything you want to do differently, I would say pop it in. So I'll start with Thistle. Is there anything you want to do differently today?
I think they're a little more alert today. Time has passed, so they feel a little less guilty. I'm not actually sure. I think... Well, they've never been... No, I don't think they've been this high before. Are we like up? We're going up the mountain?
It's more of a hill than a mountain. It's a very large, round hill, but it is very much still a hill.
This is Scotland, after
I'd
all.
say... So, like, you've definitely... If this is where Holdall is, you have a bit of a mountain here, if that makes sense. This is probably a similar height to Summit. I'm kind of clicking on the map.
I see it.
Yeah, this is the lock. So Holdall is actually looking down on the lock, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So you are... You have a view. You have a view.
Yeah, Holdall is like surrounded by that forest. And usually when Thistle is in, open ground, it's like maybe like a little valley or like a lower meadow. So this is a beautiful sight to them to be able to see so far into the distance. They're awed by this view of their surroundings as they're going up this hill. I don't think they're going to volunteer any conversation, but they are more engaged in the journey.
I'm gonna say, like, as you're looking around, you see various points across the map because you're high enough that you could see, for example, you see the very small grey dot of the castle of Shalott, of Clare Castle on the Isle of Shalott. Even that's there. You see a little tiny trail of smoke that's Grinder's Nest. You also see little trails of smoke. There's Shrewsbury, and kind of disappearing from sight, there's Wicker as well. These little villages that you've seen on the large map that, or like the smaller map that Pipistrel has copied from the larger map of the castle.
That's exciting to see because Shrewsbury is my next stop. So I would be interested. I'm interested.
You're not that far from it.
Yeah,
you're not that far from it. So it's you make a note, but it is a little exciting to have that next part of the journey. I'd also say, far in the distance, you see two significant trails of smoke. Or three. You see Holdall like the smoke of like large groups of animals together that any kind of gathering or settlement of significant size has. You see Holdall, because it's a clear sky, you see Odoke, and you see Spoolkeep. These sort of three big cities, and the sort of the smoke they leave, and the sort of that almost like mist of just lots of beasts together, breathing and living and having fires and stuff like that. They have like little dots on the landscape.
Mm-hmm. This all has a little moment of like, awe at this society, and the thought that they are a member of this amazing guild that helps keep all of these beasts healthy and alive. Sort of like a everything the light touches moment.
Okay. So, Balthazar and Pepperstrut, was there anything else you wanted to do differently today?
I think as we start climbing up, and we're probably in terrain that has more concealment, at least from the upwards side. Balthazar is, I think, trying to be a lot more vigilant, or keep tabs, because there's only so much you can do from the ground. So I think he's going to try to kind of just keep tabs on things, like the kind of training that he would have for the terrain would probably be like, he probably has shifted around his gear so that he can like access his sword faster if he needs to. He has made sure that his armor is like, it was probably some of the straps and stuff might have been a little loosened the other day, but today it's all like he's ready for action if action should present itself.
Yeah.
And so actually I think rather than vigilant in terms of looking out for danger, because Pip's got that covered, he's more just like readied if needs be, and kind of like going through like, he has gone in prepared essentially, and he is in state of preparation.
So you're all and Pipstrel, was there anything you want to do differently?
I think she'll be a little bit more engaged today. I think she feels like a little bit more connected to everybody again, having sort of felt very guilty and disconnected yesterday. I think she'll be like a little bit more like in conversation with Hayden. Because I think for the first time in ages, I think she's having Hayden around. I think she's really missed the company of other bats. And she's like, it's really nice talking about like bat things like festivals and dancing and, moonlight and like the moonlight ceremonies and stuff. Like she's really like, it's nice to talk with another bat, but she's also like kind of seeing how like ready Balthazar is. She's also like taking her scouting quite seriously today and is like spending longer stretches in the air kind of thing.
I'd like
safety.
So Thistle, I feel like you are engaging and you're being aware of things. I'd like you to make a cunning roll for me as you're sort of like keeping an eye on the ground and around. Sort of just being aware of your surroundings. Just a straight cunning roll for me.
Did you say Thistle?
Yes, Thistle.
Oh, sorry.
I'm working my way up through everyone. I went down last time, so I'm going up.
Oh God.
So I feel like the hijinks here, because you rolled a 1, is that actually for the first time you're talking to people, and so maybe you're being a little conversational with Hayden and with Balthazar, and you still have some of that introspection as well. So you're not actually paying attention at all to the surroundings.
Oh,
great! This is what I get for trying to be social.
Oh no,
Balthazar. I'd like you to make a cunning roll for me, also for awareness of your surroundings.
Or vigor, because I said that I'm not so much, trying to scout, but be prepared.
You're prepared, don't worry, that's an assumed a fact.
Okay, can I tag my... Oh, I have Icky Lucky out, and I want to tag my bug whisperer because she can be quite vigilant. So if I want to notice something, she'll go tick, 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 and start like touching her antenna, and I'll be like, "Oh, there's danger!" Because she doesn't need to travel; she's just sitting on my shoulder, like Pikachu, you know.
Okay.
Ash's shoulder.
I want you to make a cunning roll for me at advantage.
Yeah.
Make a bug roll with advantage.
Oh!
Okay, that is a 4 and a 1. I feel like it is so difficult not to play with Icky Lucky. You were sort of like, when you first get Icky, you're like, oh, a little bug, and Hayden's like, ooh, a snack? Wait, no, a friend.
If something happens to Icky Lucky, I will kill everyone on this route and then myself.
Yes. But you get Icky Lucky out, and Icky is paying attention.
Because she's a good girl.
You do get a little tapping on your shoulder. And you look around. I think at this point, Pipistrel, you're on the ground, and you see a little shadow pass over as a red kite soars over the path, perpendicular to the way that you're moving. You shelter under like some nearby sort of like winter bleached grass, and it passes away quickly, clearly going somewhere else and not caring whoever you were. And you continue on your journey. Pipistrel, I'd like you to make a cunning roll and a willpower roll. You cannot tag anything because you're multitasking.
Okay.
The cunning, because you're being aware of your surroundings and scouting, and the willpower to make an emotional connection with Hayden.
Okay. Yes!
Yo!
So there's a 10 and a 3.
Oh wait, no, it's not. I got excited. I thought it was a 4. I got excited.
Oh no.
It's a complication. I thought it was a success.
This is how it works. You're also staying aware of the surroundings.
Yeah.
And you keep trying to start conversations with Hayden, and he is not necessarily reciprocating. There's like a slight coldness, or like not cold, just like a. You start a conversation, he kind of gives like very closed answers, like, "Oh my god, I love like going to bat festivals," and he's like, "Yup, that's great for you."
Oh.
He's not cold and he's not shutting you down. It just seems that whenever you try to start a conversation, it doesn't quite catch. And then you're like, better get back to scouting, and you just fly away.
Oh.
So you try to wear down. Yeah. And you're staying up in the air and kind of looking around.
Yeah.
And it is you, Pipistrel, I'm going to say, who spots some beasts on the road ahead.
Ooh.
There's 2 of them, and they are who are they? One of them is a stoat.
Ooh.
And another is a crossbill. Quite small animals, and they're both on the path ahead.
Can
What is
you
that?
A crossbill.
Is that?
crossbill? Is that a bird?
Yes.
That's a bird. They look like this. I'm drawing one at the bottom.
They have a crossbill.
They do.
Have
They're
funny. Yeah,
They're
it's just like a vampire with a.
They're a type of finch, I think.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they have a bill that's specifically designed for breaking the seeds out of pine cones.
Yeah, they're cool.
They are cool.
So they are
Funny
on the road
boys.
ahead.
Interesting.
On the road ahead. Sorry.
So what do you do with this information, Pipistrel?
Dive bomb.
I think at first, I think she sees the stoat first and instantly is like a little bit wary because they are mustelids. But then she's like, oh, but they're with a crossbill. Oh, okay. So I think she'll just go down and sort of like say, there's someone up ahead, by the way, and she'd like give like the information of like what she saw, like the 2 beasts and like how far ahead they are. Not in like I think we're threatened, but like just so you're aware, like beasts we don't know, just be careful, I guess.
Balthazar, I think, because he's in full, like, warden mode, and, you know, he's given an oath, essentially, with regards to Hayden, he'll start, like, asking these tactical questions, like, what are they armed? What manner of defenses do they possess? You know, what's their level? And just, like, asking all of these kind of tactical questions in the universe, I mean. It's like, yeah, did they have any, like, arms? Or he'd also ask about the crossbow, like, why... did she see any reason why it would be on the ground instead of up in the air, etc., etc.?
Yeah. Did I see any of that kind of stuff, Brian?
They were. You didn't spot any kind of weapons. I'm going to say it's a critical success. You got a general look at their clothing. They look a little haggard.
Haggard like they've been through a lot, or haggard like...
Like they've been through a lot, but you didn't want to get spotted yourself, so you you dipped away quite quickly.
Oh, okay. I think she'd mentioned that. I think she'd mentioned, like, you know, they look like they've, you know, seen the wars recently or whatever. Like, but then again, also, could be a ruse. They could be bandits. Who knows?
Yeah. I think Balthazar will say, well, I suppose bandits would likely not be using the main thoroughfare here, more likely to be hiding among the inclines where they would have sight of us, but we would not have sight of them. Let us presume the best of our fellow travelers, greet them as such. They might have information about the roads ahead, and well, if worse comes to worst, it will be a 3 against 2, and I have a big sword, so I think we're in good shape for that.
I agree.
You go ahead further on the path, and as you approach, the beasts, the two of them, sort of, you kind of see each other as you kind of turn around a bend, and the beasts, the crossbillers on the ground, has a sort of like a muddy scarf tied around its neck, and kind of tucked under a wing. Kind of like tied around a wing, not on top of, but underneath the wing and around the neck, and sort of just kind of looped and tucked. And then the stoat is wearing sort of just like a sort of shoddy, muddy cloak, kind of draped over its shoulder. And the stoat kind of sees you and sort of bounds up towards you, and just says, "Oh, go ahead."
Sorry. Just as if it bounds up towards us, Balthazar kind of like steps forward, positioning himself between this stoat and so he's in front of Hayden, basically like as a protector of Hayden and Thistle. And you know, he doesn't like go for his weapon or anything, but he just kind of steps forward and like a, you know, I'll tank you, like I'll take over you.
Okay, yeah. The stoat doesn't seem to have any fear when coming up, but it does stop short and says, fellow travellers on the road, my name is Kier. We're staying, my friend and I are staying here to pass on a warning. There's trouble ahead. We'd advise you turn down this path. Either go back where you've come from or find an alternative route. I'd suggest more directly to the south than following the curve of this road to avoid it. There seems to be trouble.
What manner of trouble? Can you be a little bit more specific?
I'm just marking it on the road. This sort of like midpoint is where you guys are.
Can you just like mark it with like a different colored X? Because the ping is kind of difficult to parse.
Blue.
Righto.
Blue.
Yeah, in the middle of the path you're going. So like there is where you are. So Kier kind of leans, gets a little closer, now walking on hind legs as opposed to all fours, and just the armed sort. Beasts are taking a toll, but I don't think they're from Summit. It seems rather unofficial and far, that we've not even reached the queues yet. The ground here is a little well trod, and you kind of look around, and it is a bit muddier. You're seeing more tracks of carts here as more creatures condense onto the road. They say they're taking a toll, but I don't think it's for the road. I think it's a better idea if you take a more clandestine path.
Well, are you able to describe these armed fellows? How many of them are there?
Kier pauses for a second and thinks, and then says, my friend might have a better idea, and sort of motions the crossbill over. The crossbill cocks their head and then sort of hops along on the ground, approaches and says, Kier, is everything all right? Oh, hello. I'm Moina. Who's a yous?
Oh, Moina. Sorry, Thistle, please.
I was going, aw.
Oh, sorry. Balthazar, will introduce himself, and the others say, I'm Balthazar of Blueberry Pond, traveling with Pipistrel, Pipistrel of Odoak, Hayden of Grinder's Nest, and Thistle the Stitcher.
And, go ahead.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't sure if I know that you're from Holdall. Do I know that?
You do now.
He would have.
Okay. Would have made it known.
Thistle the Stitcher of Holdall. He doesn't miss a beat when it's like Thistle the Stitcher of Holdall. Thistle the Stitcher of Holdall.
So kind of Moina kind of nods and says, I'm Moina of Moina. And this is my pal Kier.
You're from the
You did mention it, and Kier's like, yes, I mentioned that there's... Yeah. Kier kind of says, oh, yes, I did mention there was trouble. What sort of trouble was there? And Kier kind of looks at Moina expectantly, and Moina then says, there was, I think, a badger, some rather broad fellas, I think there was a frog, and maybe a cat, I'm not sure. Pretty rough uns. I didn't like the look of them, so we turned back here. We're waiting for friends to come up from Shrewsbury, I think it is, and we'll take another path.
Well, what other paths are there to Summit, if not to... Well, I presume you'll be cutting through the wilderness, is that it?
Aye, that is it indeed.
I think Balthazar will kind of nod his head and say, we do appreciate the warning. I suppose in exchange, Pipistrel, can you show me your map? And basically he wants to just tell them where that nice old burrow is so they have somewhere to stay while they wait for their friends.
Yeah, good idea. She reaches into her knapsack and pulls the map out of a tube.
Yeah, just as a kind of, thank you sort of exchange of information.
Yeah.
They look very interestedly at the map and go, oh, we're a bit... I think we're a bit farther ahead than we expected, but good. In fact, why don't we travel together? I think that'd be safer if we're cutting through and kind of the crossbow draws with one claw on the map. Not draw, but kind of traces along the map. If we cut across here, and I'll draw in blue again. If we cut from here round, then we can make it through round to this little bend, and I think we'll skip the trouble and get closer to the queue.
Well, what about your friends? Weren't you going to wait for them?
I can fly back and guide them. It'll be a while if they come up from Shrewsbury. We're just going to hide in the bushes, and it doesn't sound too pleasant. But if we travel with you, then we'll be nice and safe, and they can join us later. Maybe we can... And then kind of Moina drops off, and Kier says, we can tell the guards at Summit, and they can maybe send a patrol out or something. Presumably.
God, sus, but Balthazar isn't, because he just thinks these are nice travels. Though I think he'll kind of though he does know that there's bandits out here. I think he will say, he'll turn to the others and say, well, what do we think? Actually, how far away from here are these ruffians that you have described, these toll takers?
Around the bend, far enough that they won't hear us talking. We wouldn't be so close as to just to be next to them. That would be very dangerous. And Kier sort of rubs their paws a little bit.
Pipistrel, do you think you'd be able to fly about and spot them?
She is watching the stoat like rub his hands together. She's being overly suspicious as usual, but she kind of snaps her
One
attention
has to
back.
be.
Exactly. She snaps her attention back to Balthazar and says, yes, I can do that. Maybe you'd like to come with me and help me scout." She turns back to the bird, the crossbill. You know, more eyes and all that. You know, she's being sort of very friendly.
And the Moina, the crossbill, just says,
Moina, thank you.
"Oh yeah, that sounds right good. You might spot something I missed, and I might spot something you missed. Good idea. And we can find a good route for our friends from Shrewsbury to follow as well, if we might spot a nice bit through the wilderness, you know."
Pipistrelle is like, yeah, Pipistrelle is like, yes, she's in full suspicious mode right now. Like, you're gonna trust them until told otherwise, but like she's something doesn't feel right with her, and she might be wrong, but because she usually is, but you never know. So she's gonna fly with Moina and see what all this kerfuffle that they're talking about is.
Would also.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say that Balthazar would also turn to Thistle and ask, "What do you think about this situation, Thistle?"
Thistle's probably just like not understanding why we've stopped. Like, well, I think we've got a big sword. I think we can just go. I don't want to be delayed any more than we've got to.
A big sword, but there's like a badger there, and some broad fellas, a frog, maybe a cat. I mean, I can fight pretty well, but I don't think I can run go to fight against a bunch of hefty opponents. Like, I have to be a little bit realistic about it, you know?
Again, Thistle is cowed into silence. All of their ideas are stupid all the time.
No.
I'm sorry, Thistle, but I'm gonna die.
So they just have no concept of reality, I don't think.
Thistle's just like, "Can't you murder them?"
No, not even that. Just like a threat. It was anti-killing.
So, I'd say, Pipistrelle, make a cunning roll for me as you suss out the bend ahead.
Can I tag my shrewd gaze, watching for like little, you know, what do you call them? Like, oh Christ, my brain is still not switched
Signs,
on.
trails.
Like looking for like, so she's like using her shrewd gaze to like see whether or not there's like this whole scuffle thing is actually like legitimate. Like, are there like, you know, do we see badger paws anywhere? Is there like signs of a struggle? Is there like debris, etc.? Like as they're flying, I guess, because I don't think they'll be flying very high. Like, you know.
So make a cunning roll for me.
Yeah, just straight cunning roll.
Yeah.
Okay. Hooray!
That is a 5. You fly around, and with a success, there is signs there has been a struggle on the road.
Ah, okay. That's
the description of the description of the badger. You see a badger print. As you kind of do you fly down to look?
I think hoping that Moina is like not too far behind her. I think she'll like she'll kind of like fly lower, like have a like sort of flutter over like scuffle marks and like paw prints and just see maybe if she can figure out what happened.
You fly down and Moina is behind you. Moina seems quite anxious to be like at the site of a robbery. You look around and there seems to have been there's paw prints on the ground. There's the sign of mud being dragged off to the side. Moina seems to be kind of hopping from foot to foot. Like, well, hopping from side to side with both feet. I feel like that's what a bird would do, sort of like the anxious little hippie tippy taps.
Oh, I think she.
There's
she
definitely the
noticed
sign
this.
that there was something was moved and scuffled from the side off the road here, and the road is also muddier here as well because it's getting closer towards Summit.
Okay. I think she would like notice that Moina's sort of acting a bit like scared. And would say like, "Oh, I'm I'm terribly sorry. I didn't mean to bring you this way if it was making you uncomfortable. I just was hoping that we might find some clues or something as to what happened."
Well, we told you there was trouble on the road. It could be clearer than that.
No, I suppose you're right. Well, I can't see anything now, so maybe they've headed up the road, continuing to Summit.
Possibly, or... And then Moina gives you a look. Mayhap they've moved back towards our friends.
Oh, when did you last see your friends?
No, your friends and mine.
Oh, I see. Then yes,
And-
let's... Oh, okay, yeah.
This is where we'll end the episode.
No!
At this point, Moina starts... The hippie hops get a little bit anxious, and Moina gives you a look and then takes to the air.
Oh no, that's not good.
And that
Was my sus right? I don't know.
is where we're going to end the episode. This has been a lovely, fun little bit of tension, skill checks. This has been a good, fun episode of Beast Fables, guys.
I hope that the next episode just opens up with, no, they didn't, and we're just like chilling waiting for them, and it's just like, hey, let's keep going.
Nothing happened,
Nothing
Pipistrel, you
happened.
silly sausage.
Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. We will see you next Thursday. Or maybe not. I don't know. Christmas. What's happening? I don't know.
We will see.
This is on Saturday. Wait, no, Christmas isn't next week. It's in 2 weeks, silly sausage.
No, but like people are going home and stuff, and I don't know what people are
Okay.
going to be, what the vibe is. We'll just there'll be an episode when there's an episode. We're having fun.
Yeah,
Work it out.
yeah, that's how we do it.
Yeah.
You come back and everyone's just died of
Around these
frostbite.
parts.
No one survived
Not
the winter.
again.
Not again.
Why do you think Frasier isn't on the show anymore?
Lizette died.
He's
Oh,
frozen.
wow. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. Goodbye from us for now.
Goodbye.
Bye.
See you.
Done. We're off.
Yeah, before people